Well, the news you're probably waking up to this morning is that One Direction star Liam Payne has died at the age of just 31, apparently falling from the third floor of a hotel in Buenos Aires.
Well, fans across the world have come together to pay tribute to the star who helped define a generation of pop music.
Well, he'd been in Argentina supporting former bandmate Niall Horan, who was on tour there, and he had been posting on social media right before the shocking incident.
Well, joining us now is showbiz reporter Stephanie Tetchy. Good to see you this morning,
Good
Stephanie.
morning.
And it is just such shocking and tragic news, isn't it?
It's devastating news, Ellie. 31 is no age to go, but I think the circumstances which we're hearing about how Liam died is just dreadful. And I think, millions of fans across the globe, One Direction fans, are waking up to this news and trying to comprehend what's happened here. He was a pop icon. You can imagine at the age of 16 finding fame at the way he did with the rest of the boys. They instantly rose to fame and they became these pop sensations. It had been the death of the boy band before they came back, and over the past few years, he's been on a solo journey, trying to find himself, trying to establish himself as a solo artist. He had moments where he was there and he was at the top of the game, maybe not like Harry Styles, but his career was always plagued with addiction, stints in rehab, which he was quite open about. I've interviewed Liam several times over the years, and he's always struck me as a very kind and honest character. He's almost like a journalist dream in the sense where there was nothing to hide about the problems he was going through. And it was one of those things where I think what's happened is, like, to find that fame at 16 and then to be out of the boy band by 21, it's like, how do you move on from there?
This is the thing a lot of people have said, as you did, that he was actually a nice person.
Lovely person. I just think, when you get fame that young, as I've seen with most of these pop stars, sometimes they become a bit egotistical and they lose their way, but that wasn't the case with Liam. He was very warm-hearted. I interviewed him just after he became a father and welcomed his son Bear with Cheryl Cole, and I could see it literally brought light into his life becoming a father. So I'm definitely thinking of Cheryl and Bear, who's just 7 years old. So for them to come to terms with this is just going to be a hard road ahead for them.
And we haven't heard from Cheryl yet. You can only imagine the shock that she's going through. She's probably going to have to wake up this morning and tell her young son. She'll be working out how to do that. And we haven't heard from the bandmates yet, have we? Because you can only imagine how they're feeling, especially Niall, who was with just 2 weeks ago.
And I think what's so haunting about this, he was literally on social media just hours before his death, even an hour before his death, just posting up. Life was just as normal. He was there in Argentina supporting Niall. But the thing is, a lot of what people say online now is be kind, because over the past few weeks he has been ridiculed online for some of his recent appearances, including one at Niall's concert where people were making fun of him, saying he was acting a bit strange. He was also facing a potential legal case with one of his former lovers. So there was a lot of pressure on Liam before his death, including he was working on a second album which had to be rewritten. So there was a lot going on, a lot of struggles with him, and I think as the days go by and the weeks go on, we will have more information on what's happened here.
We don't know, and we can't speculate as exactly what has gone on. We do know that he's fallen off this balcony, which this is what I don't understand. It's very difficult to understand how this happens, and this is not an uncommon thing. We had a case not that many days ago.
It's horrific, Stephen. This week in showbiz, we've had another death of a DJ in Ibiza who apparently fell from a balcony as well. And I just think when you hear these showbiz deaths, they're not, natural in the sense where they're very, freak accidents. And trying to get your head around it is just a bit too shocking, especially for Liam Payne. I just think he was just such a lovable character, and you really think he was battling through those demons, and you was just hoping that he was going to get on the other side, and there was plans for him to go on tour, and it just seems like everything has just been brought to a very sad halt.
I've just seen Harry Styles' mother post a picture saying just a boy, obviously referencing the fact that he was so young, just 31.
Well, that's it. If you're seeing at the moment, if you see his first audition on X Factor in 2008, he was just 14 years old and he had this incredible voice and he got rejected, but Simon Cowell said, come back in 2 years. And he did come back in 2 years. And Liam was quite open when he said, you know, when he got rejected from X Factor, he felt like it was the end of the world. So for him to come back shows the determination he's had. But he's also been quite open in interviews where he says that aftercare duty must be provided for young artists who go on such reality shows. Because can you imagine your big, successful career almost drawing to an end at the age of 21? Like, where do you go there? You've got all this money.
I do sort of wonder if showbiz like that, this huge success is more of a curse than anything else.
Stephen, I often think that, and I just think there is that price of fame because you can get the money, and I think he loved his fans. I don't think it's about the fans that are the problem here, but it's the other side of you've got this voice and you're no longer a part of the boy band that made you a success. What do you do next? He hasn't enjoyed the same success as Harry Styles has. He was like the breakout star. So you're kind of left to your own devices and you're surrounded by lots of yes people. So to break through that, you need an aftercare system, and I'm sure his family have always been there for him, but you know he was old enough to kind of make his own decisions, unfortunately.
And there'll be fans all over the world this morning who'll be so devastated. I mean, we've been seeing live pictures all morning outside the hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, a vigil being held by fans there.
Well, One Directioners are not like other fans. You know, we hear about the Swifties, but One Direction does, even since the band have been split, they still love One Direction. They've been following all of them individually. So for them, it's almost like a cult for them, how much they love those stars. And I think, you know, in the industry and with fans, there was always this hope that One Direction was going to get back together. I think people were just waiting for the right time for that. And now, even if they do, unfortunately, there's going to be one member missing.
Main news this morning is that shocking news about Liam Payne from One Direction, who's died in Argentina. Well, we found out late last night, at the age of 31. A man who'd enjoyed so much fame, but with it, as is often the case, came a lot of problems for him.
Well, joining us now is showbiz reporter Sarah Robertson. Good to see you this morning, Sarah. And this is just such shocking news, isn't it?
It's unbelievable, horrific. What an appalling tragedy, Ellie and Stephen, to wake up this morning to those shocking, shocking headlines. As you said, 31 these days is no age at all. And Liam was someone who seemed like he had so much to live for. He was blessed with a 7-year-old beautiful boy, Bear, which he had with his ex-partner, Cheryl Tweedy. He had grown up in the spotlight, really. He was 16 when he first found fame, when One Direction were put together by Simon Cowell from his show, The X Factor. And then he was plunged into the spotlight. But out of the 5 members of the band, Liam always seemed, I don't know, just seemed the more down-to-earth one of the 5. He was very family-orientated, very close to his family back home in the UK. And then when the band had their hiatus, which eventually led to the split, he went off and had quite a successful solo career with songs such as Strip Me Down, being used in the film 50 Shades of Grey. I think that charted very, very high in the charts, and he was due to come back on television screens actually with Netflix. He was filming a new pop show where he was going to be like a judge, same as what Simon Cowell was when they did X Factor, and he was going to be filming that with Kelly Rowland and Nicole Scherzinger, and Nicole was one of the people who helped put One Direction together. So it was sort of like Liam was coming around in a circle, shall we say, in terms of his career trajectory. And then to see his life sort of snuffed out so suddenly, and abroad in a foreign hotel in a foreign country, it's just absolutely shocking.
It is that shock, isn't it? And the fact that we don't know at this stage quite what's happened.
No, that's right. The Argentinian police, I mean, they are releasing reports. They have been quite candid with the press. I think they have different press rules there than we do, but they have been quite open. They said they were called to the hotel at local time just after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Reports of a man who had fallen from the third floor balcony of his hotel room, but unfortunately injuries weren't sustainable, and the poor lad was pronounced dead at the scene. There is going to be an autopsy. There is going to be a post-mortem. There's an investigation being launched because other reports from eyewitnesses at the hotel sort of paint a picture of Liam's final few hours on Earth, and his behaviour was described as erratic. That was the word that was used. The word that was also used was aggressive. I say this is what's been reported. I'm not saying this myself. I'm just repeating what's been reported. These are all alleged at the moment, allegations, but it sort of paints a scene of a man who maybe wasn't as happy as his last images on social media had portrayed. In the lead up to his death, he had posted on the social media forum Snapchat a throwback photograph of himself with his current partner, the model Kate Cassidy. They had been in Argentina together on holiday. They had arrived on the 30th of September. They'd gone to see Liam's former bandmate Niall Horan in concert in Argentina. He seemed to be having a grand old time. He had spoken about their trip, sharing photos with his fans on his social media forums, saying he was having quality time. I believe Miss Cassidy, flew out from Argentina the day before, the 14th of October. She had flown elsewhere, and Liam was left in his hotel room and had been sort of conversing through social media with his fans, as I say, sharing these throwback photographs, but also seemed to be quite happy in them. He did like a short video saying about Halloween and what should he wear. So he looked like he was looking forward, but you sort of wonder what had happened in those few hours between that last social media post and then the tragedy that's unfolding before us now.
Sarah Robertson, for now, thank you.
Just such tragic news, isn't it? Really is. And legions of fans all around the world will be absolutely devastated at this news. We've seen the fans already gathering outside the hotel, haven't we?
It's really sad. Very
tribute,
sad.
lighting candles. There's a shrine being erected outside that hotel in Buenos Aires.